All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to this second session on the SAP and Google track. For those who just have joined us, in this second session, we are going to talk about how you can start moving your SAP infrastructure to Google Cloud. We'll talk about some best practices as well and the learnings that we've acquired from existing customers. As a reminder, this is an interactive platform. We will love to hear from you. We will love you to submit your questions. We have a great team of experts today reading and trying to address your questions, so please submit those questions. Also, as a reminder, this is the second slot, right? But in the first slot, we ask you to, if you want to hear from Google, just ping on the platform. My name is Gonzalo Ruiz. I'm an EMEA Customer Engineering Manager, helping with our largest enterprise customers. And as you might know, many of those customers are actually SAP customers. So let's drill down into the content, right? Pack agenda as well. As you know, you might know, there are multiple ways to migrate SAP systems from one environment to another environment. Today we are going to talk about how to do it in the context of Google Cloud. So that will mean lifting your existing infrastructure as it is today to Google Cloud. We will also do a quick review on the tools that SAP people typically use to migrate and upgrade existing SAP infrastructure. Regardless of where you do it, those tools are provided by SAP, but we want to talk about how they fit into the context of SAP migrations. And the third scenario is many customers of ours want to do the two things at the same time, actually. They want to modernize their SAP infrastructure to more modern and up-to-date versions, like migrating to SAP HANA, while at the same time, they migrate to Google Cloud. So we'll talk about the key decisions that you as a customer have to make, and also the key learnings that we've acquired. Right, very quick recap. For those who have been joining us with us since the beginning, apologies, it will be a quick recap, but I really want to stress why, right? Google Cloud is a global cloud platform, right? Massive investment from Google. As an example, during the last 3 years, we've invested more than 30 billion. We today have more than 1 billion unique IP addresses, and it's a global platform. You can use any of the locations that Google offers. As for today, we have 17 regions available online for you to use across Europe, across America, and across Asia, and 3 more coming. You, as a European customer, can today use Finland, use Brussels, use Netherlands, and use the UK. And also, we've announced that very soon Zurich will be available. This infrastructure is state-of-the-art, purpose-built to support Google Cloud and to support Google businesses. And this also means unprecedented reliability for you when you host your infrastructure in Google Cloud. Again, quick recap of where those zones and regions are available. 17 regions. In each of those regions, we typically have multiple zones. A zone is a means for you to isolate your infrastructure from potential problems and also provide a fantastic availability and resilient architecture. This global network of data centers are connected using our proprietary network with multiple undersea cables. We have more than 100 points of presence, more than 100,000 miles of fiber, and this also means unprecedented performance that you can benefit from if you host your infrastructure in Google Cloud. That was the recap from the previous session on why Google Cloud. Now, let's start talking about what are the challenges that our customers face when it comes to move SAP environments into Google Cloud. We hear 4 common things, right? As we all know, SAP is mission-critical system. They typically tend to be quite large, especially among large corporations, right? So there are a lot of questions around how can I move my state? They might be 100 VMs, they might be 1,000 VMs. And also the amount of data that I have, terabytes of data, how can I move them effectively without actually using all my network? The other question that we continuously hear is, well, my environment is very heterogeneous. So I have some bits in a virtualized environment, some bits in another cloud provider, is there a consistent approach that I can benefit from to do a consistent migration strategy? The third part is the complexity that distributed applications brings into the picture. Some of the SAP applications are distributed. You have the application tier, you have the data tier. So how can you migrate all these bits without actually taking your business down? And this leads to the fourth point, risk. How you can do this migration in a consistent, predictable, and automatic manner. Right. As you may know, there are multiple ways to get to the end goal. The end goal very often is to get to the latest version of your SAP applications and to have that latest version hosted on Google Cloud. As an example, it might be that you are Business Suite AHP 8 customer, you hosting your data in SQL Server. And again, you might want to get to S4 with HANA and on GCP. What are the options? Is there only one option? I'm afraid that no. The answer is no. There are multiple options, right? There are multiple journeys that you could go through, right? One option might be to, first of all, migrate to Google Cloud, migrate your infrastructure as it is today, your applications as they are today, maintain the same versions in terms of business applications, the application tier, and also the data tier. And then from there, once you are in Google Cloud, actually upgrade to the latest versions of SAP. Why would you want to do that? There are multiple reasons that we'll talk about later in this session. The other option that some people might consider is actually from your current state to actually do a upgrade while at the same time you migrate to Google Cloud, right? So this will be skipping the first step that we've talked about before. But let's drill down into the first step. Again, lift and shift means that you just migrate your existing state as it is today in Google Cloud, right? So another recap. How would we recommend you to approach this? In the previous webcast, we briefly touched on a unique tool that we offer to Google Cloud customers at no cost. This is Velostrata. Again, a company that we acquired some months ago. It provides purpose-built VM migration service that migrates the workloads, the VMs, on the fly with minimum disruption and minimum performance degradation. For you, this means that you can approach these migrations in a much more predictable manner while accelerating the migration. How does Velostrata achieve this? It sounds like magic. There are three key things that Velostrata does in a fairly unique way. First and foremost, it doesn't require any agent. If you've used other similar solutions in the past, very likely you had to go to your servers, deploy an agent, which is a package software, and then from them, you will be in a position to start looking at your migration. Velostrata doesn't require you to do this. This means that for you, you have to face much less complexity, and you can start thinking about the migration much more quickly. And this is a big deal for many customers who actually, believe it or not, might not know enough details about what servers host what. The other unique thing that Velostrata does is decoupling storage and compute. And this eliminates a lot of long upfront data transfers and unpredictable maintenance windows. It also means that you can migrate very large amounts of data in a transparent manner, in a more quickly manner. The third part is automation. Surely with Velostrata, you can click and choose what VMs you want to choose using GUIs, but it also provides very advanced capabilities that allows you to fully automate the migration process, which allows you to do that, then test, and then repeat, and then have a much more repeatable and predictable migration strategy. The other key thing that Velostrata does, and is pretty unique, is it provides recommendations about how you can get the most from your infrastructure. So the idea is that you install the Velostrata appliance, it starts monitoring your VMs, then it collects all those metrics, It aggregates the metrics and classifies your instances into recommendations on what would be the right size for your VMs in Google Cloud, which also means significant cost savings for you. This is a big deal because in my experience, many of the customers that I've worked with, they are wasting resources. They've oversized their infrastructure without them knowing it. Okay, let's drill down into the specifics of how this works, right? So on the left-hand side, you have your data center, which is where your SAP instances are running today. And on the right-hand side, we have Google Cloud. This is where you want to go, right? How does this work? First, I want to stress that Velostrata migration capabilities actually work in what they call streaming copy. This means that the data is being copied on the fly in a transparent manner and incremental manner, while network usage gets optimized as well. Right, so where do we start? The first step will be on the right-hand side. This is the red box. You will have to start the Velostrata appliance in your on-premise data center. This could be a single VM, or it could be multiple VMs if you need a scale-out, more reliable deployment. Then you will have to do something similar in the Google Cloud environment. That will be a combination of the appliance, Velostrata appliance, and then the cache tier will get created. Once you do that, you're in a good situation to start migrating the data over the WAM. We'll talk about how Velostrata does this, but it provides very advanced capabilities that bring almost the same performance that you will get if you were going to migrate in your data center, but you are doing it over the WAM. Right? So you've done that, you have the appliances working on both sides. Now you can go and click and select the instances that you want to migrate. You could also use the API that Velostrata provides, whether it's the REST API, the PowerShell module, or the VMware plugins that you can integrate with VMware Control UI. Right? So you select the instance, the channel gets open, and then the migration starts. For a short period of time, the VM gets shut down, and then the migration of the data starts to happen in the background in a totally transparent manner. If you need to, because of any problem, you could roll back if that is something necessary as well. And again, there are some very advanced techniques that Velostrata uses, like prefetch, like read-aheads, like the cache that it uses. Based on some statistics that they've seen that 95% of the base OS images contain exactly the same data. So there are a lot of optimizations that it can be done to minimize the data that is sent over the wire. Right? Once all that migration happens in the background, then you are ready to go, you are live in your Google Cloud, and you are ready to deattach your VMs from your on-premise environment, and you are in the cloud. Right? Another very capability that Velostrata provides, and is very handy, is what they call test clone. Right? This allows you to quickly select one of the servers that you have in your on-premise environment and clone it into the Google Cloud with no friction at all. Right? This is so handy because in the context of SAP, allows you to duplicate your environments, put them on Google Cloud. Once you have them on Google Cloud, you can start testing your migration strategy. Remember, everything that you do in Google Cloud compute services are pay-as-you-go, so you use those services for whatever period of time you need to validate your testing and migration strategy, and then you can shut everything down. Right? So this is a real example from an SAP migration that one of our customers have done. Right? So the blue line is how the compute servers get migrated. So you will see a very spiky growth in terms of number of servers that get migrated almost immediately. They become online in the Google Cloud. But then in the background, Velostrata appliances keep streaming the data replication process. So this happens completely transparent to you. And in a matter of 36 hours, in this specific case, more than 3 terabytes of data were migrated over a WAM of 150 megabits per second. In the context of SAP, this is an example of a SAP ECC training environment. Again, a low-hanging fruit to start with in the case of Google Cloud. If we also take one step back, if you think about how this would work in a real example, typically what we recommend customers to do is spend 1 week doing the discovery, the planning, the scheduling, the automation. Then week 2 is when the migration starts. In a week, you can migrate quite a lot of service, quite a lot of data, and then iterate quickly in sprints. Whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending down to you and your data. But this is an approach that is working quite well for our customers. Another great example, and I really want to reiterate that what Velostrata provides you is more predictable, faster migration process. This also means that you can start benefiting from Google Cloud elastic pricing model, from Google Cloud global infrastructure, much more quickly in a more predictable manner. I also wanted to drill down into some of the other advanced capabilities that Velostrata provides. One, encryption, both for data in flight and for data at rest. This means that your data will always remain secure and in the process of the migration. It also provides built-in integrity validation. So when we were talking about customers really want to make sure that the data is consistent, Velostrata provides advanced capabilities in this space. Again, for larger scale deployments in which you cannot afford downtime, Velostrata appliances can be configured both in a single instance mode or a scale-out mode. It works with multiple network topologies, whether it's behind a NAT, whether it's behind an HTTP proxy, or whether it's through private Google access. As you know, you can extend your on-premise network to Google Cloud in multiple manners. You could just establish a VPN tunnel using IPsec tunnels from your on-prem environment to Google Cloud, or you could go what is called either partnered interconnect or a direct interconnect. Those are private connectivity options that allow you to establish a private link to Google Cloud, which also means that you have more predictable performance, typically more bandwidth, of course, more security capabilities, right? Velostrata also provides great telemetry and log aggregation capabilities that come extremely handy when it comes to debug and understand large-scale migrations. Okay, so what are the best practices that we've identified? First and foremost, a short sprint, focus on a short sprint to do the discovery and the assessment, right? Focus on the migration pipeline and execute on small sprint and based iterations. Automate everything, right? You can write scripts, you can write runbooks that will allow you to test and automate your migration. And as soon as you are confident with that approach, with those scripts, go to critical mass and accelerate the speed of migration. We are seeing very tangible and fantastic business benefits for those customers who benefit from these tools. A good example, quick time to operation, 10 minutes, minimizing downtime. Labor savings, again, because of the agentless nature of Velostrata, because of the automation capabilities that Velostrata provides, you can actually save very valuable time from your team. And I'm sure that they are already very busy. It also means that for those that are still trying to decide where to go and how to go, you can actually take this approach, invest a couple of weeks, learn, and then take a more informed decision on what the right path for your organization is. And of course, for those who really have pressure to start benefiting from Google Cloud economics, it also means that you can accelerate as much as you need. And a good example is 5x acceleration that we've seen in the case of some customers, right? So to recap some of the key dimensions, key concerns that we've seen, we need non-disruptive testing. Velostrata provides that. It allows you to quickly clone one environment, replicate that environment as it is today in the cloud. As soon as you do so, you have access to the elastic, pay-as-you-go Google Cloud platform, and you can start testing your migration upgrade strategy. The other key concern that we continuously hear is downtime. SAP are mission-critical systems. You as a customer cannot afford downtime. Velostrata really allows you to minimize that downtime when it comes to migrations to Google Cloud and even upgrades. More predictable, you need to manage risk. So the automation capabilities allows you to manage risk in a more cost-effective manner. One optimization. Quite a lot of customers are concerned about how the network is going to be used during that migration process. And again, Velostrata provides deduplication, compression, caching tiers that will look very carefully at your valuable resources, networking resources. Good. So that was an overview on how you could lift existing systems to Google Cloud. Again, we haven't done anything with those systems apart from moving them from your on-premise infrastructure to Google Cloud. Now, for those customers that are also looking at taking this opportunity to modernize your SAP state, all the tools that you know and love that SAP provides are available to you as well, whether it's DMO or whether it's SAM, right? So I'm sure that our SAP folks will explain this in a much more accurate way, but a quick recap, DMO is the combination of update and migration, while at the same time potentially doing Unicode conversion. SAM runs on the primary application service, right? Or it can also run on additional application service with some restrictions that SAP have documented. In the case of DMO without software update, it will only do the migration, no updates, right? And in the context of the same data center. However, DMO with system move allows you to move your complete SAP system to another data center as well, right? So, I mean, arguably, you could take this approach to also do that in the context of Google Cloud, right? So this will be a set of options, right? A system copy means that you're in data center 1, on-prem, another cloud today, and you want to move to a data center 2, hopefully Google Cloud. With DMO, you can do a system copy, maintain the same version, so you just migrate your system as it is today, as we talk in the case of Velostrata. And once you are there, the benefit of doing that is that you can leverage Google Cloud dynamic infrastructure to actually test your migration strategy, to create as many dev test environments as possible, to have duplicated environments that will allow you to test your SAP migration and control cost with no upfront investments. The other journey that you could take is DMO with system move. That will be a migration and a export, transfer, import, and upgrade. So the end goal will be that in one step, you are up and running in a second data center with your software and database upgraded to the latest version of SAP. Right? So we've talked about the lift and shift with Velostrata, the DMO techniques. Again, the key point, they are available to you in the context of SAP. Let's talk about what Google recommends to do in the context of a lift and upgrade, right? Again, this will be just one example of the plethora of examples that we could find. You are in Business Suite, EHP 8, right, on SQL Server. Your end goal is to get to S/4HANA in GCP, but we collectively decide to take one intermediate step, which will be, first of all, migrate to SAP to GCP with your existing version, and then once you're in GCP, migrate to S/4HANA, right? This will be the approach that you could take in the context using just the SAP tools, right? So you will convert your data from any database to SAP format. Then you will provision those servers in the cloud, Google Cloud in this specific case. How would you do that? You can use the console, you can use the APIs, you can use any of the SDKs that we provide, PowerShell, Node, Python. You could use any of the open source tools, system configuration tools like Terraform, like Ansible, right? And from them, you continue using DMO and SAM to actually do the migration and upgrade of the system. Now, the reality is that that will imply some significant downtime And I beg your pardon because I just noticed that this text might not be big enough. But the key point here is that the system, the diagram on the left shows the downtimes that you will face if you take the approach of system move with DMO, right? Red means downtime, again, right? It means the migration. You do the transfer of the migrated system over the WAM, and then you create a system on Google Cloud. Whereas on the other side, in the right-hand side, we have the system move with Velostrata. Why is this a better solution? Again, we have the agentless. We have the streaming in terms of data and compute migration, right? So in essence, you face very little downtime while you are migrating to Google Cloud. And then once you are in Google Cloud, your migration, your data will reside in the same data center. So doing the system upgrade or database upgrade is actually much faster. You don't have to send the big amounts of data over the wire. So that's why, one of the reasons why I believe that actually if your end goal is to be S/4HANA or latest version of SAP in GCP, it is much more effective to actually do it in 2 steps. One being the migration to GCP as it is today, using Velostrata, using the streaming migration capabilities that it provides. And then from them on, use the Google Cloud to actually validate, test, and execute your upgrade migration. Right. How would you start, right? There are multiple ways, but I think a very obvious way to start will be to production test. Pick and choose a medium critical system, medium size, and use it as a guinea pig. Use Velostrata, install it in your on-premise, install the appliance in your on-premise infrastructure, and then use that as a quick proof of concept. Again, we've learned that quick sprints yield great results. So think about maybe 1 week sprint in which you do the assessment and the discovery, and then another week in which you actually execute the migration. After you do that, hopefully you will be in a better position. You will have more data points that will allow you to eliminate risks. And then in the last part, as you do so, you will be in a good position to benefit from all the advantages that we talked in the first webcast around unique and leading TCO, around pay-as-go, so on and so forth. Right, so with that, now it's time to go to a Q&A. Let's address your questions that we have on the panel. OnAir will join me to address those questions. All right, everyone, welcome back. For those who just joined us, thanks for your time and thanks for joining us today. Now we have the honor of having OnAir back with us. OnAir, for those who just joined us, would you mind to introduce yourself and tell us about what you do in Google?
Of course, so my name is Omar Mahmood. I'm a customer engineer in Google Cloud, and I'm based here in London.
Okay, brilliant. So we have some fantastic questions on the Q&A. So Omar, let's start.
Sure. So in your experience, Gonzalo, what are the key success factors for moving SAP to Google Cloud?
Yeah, I think there is a combination of a couple of things, and we touched on some of them during the previous sessions. I think the first and foremost is having very clear business goals. Some customers, depending on the industry, depending on the context, start from different points, and they want to get to different points, different objectives, right? So a good example is that the way in which you would approach a migration with not concrete time pressures, with no concrete capacity pressures, will probably be very different if you had to migrate and move out from an existing data center. Mm-hmm. Or some other customers come to us just saying, we need to accelerate innovation, we need to accelerate digitalization. So how do we do that? Okay. Right? Some customers come to us because they just want to go bigger, expand into other regions, and they also look at Google Cloud for doing that. Or some other customers simply want to achieve better economics. Mm-hmm. So the first step will always have to be clearly define your business goals. Now, as you do so, I think this journey is a very interesting journey, but I also feel that organizations need the right technology providers, the right technology partners. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about what SAP and Google can offer to organizations, right? And I think this is a unique combination. Third step, I think it's also the right expertise, right? Whether that expertise is your internal organization, fantastic, or whether you also need external help, like system integrators, or like also the help of the Google Cloud team, right? But building the right team to actually achieve your business goals is a key success factor.
Okay.
And last but not least is also the combination of the right toolings and the right methodology.
Okay.
So if we remember what we talked about in the second webcast, methodology, we've learned that starting with small sprints in terms of weeks, assessing your current state, and then using Velostrata, start migrating a number of long-hanging fruits. From there, learn, and then think about your long journey, right? So that's a trick that we've learned. And of course, using the tools like Velostrata and DMO, right? So the combination of the right goals, the right people, the right methodology, and the right tools is what I think will bring the right results.
Okay, great. We have another question in. So you mentioned GCP is certified for SAP HANA, SQL, and the Sybase DBs. What would you recommend to Oracle customers?
Yeah, you may or may not know this, but Oracle is not supported today in Google Cloud virtualized infrastructure, right? So the reality is that many customers of us come to us because actually they also want to take that opportunity to modernize their state and also following SAP guidelines, migrate to SAP HANA. We all know that by 2025, SAP will require all the SAP customers to be on HANA. And this is a major driver for many of the customers who also look at Google Cloud, right? So I would say that moving to HANA is an obvious choice. For those who are not committed to HANA yet or simply are not ready to HANA yet, there are some solutions that we can offer in conjunction with partners. But I would say that what I would suggest to those customers, ping us on the tool and let's have a chat.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, another one that's just come in. So what would you recommend for customers that have instances larger than 4 terabytes?
Yeah, so this is interesting because based on the statistics, based on the engagements that we've had with customers, actually we've seen that 4 terabyte instances and smaller are 95% of the state out there, right? So the first thing that I want to land is that actually 4 terabytes can do a lot for you, right? This is what we've seen, right? Now, for those very large organizations that need to go beyond that, there are two options. One is what is available today, which is the scale out option, right? Depending on whether it's BW and whether it is SAP business applications, right? That may not be a choice for you, but those configurations are also documented, right? So you have the option of scaling out. Also, think about your journey. You know, for those who have really very large states, you very likely don't want to start with the most complex infrastructure today, right? As we discussed before, you might want to start with your dev test, with medium criticality systems, do the first iterations, and then learn. And if you do so, if you acknowledge that this is going to be a journey, also keep in mind our roadmap. In the first session, we've talked about the roadmap that we've already announced and the fact that by 2019, we've already committed to offer bigger VMs that will include 12 and 18 terabytes memory VMs, right? So I would say start with clear goals, focus on what is important for you today, what you can do today, and then plan for the roadmap as well.
Okay. Okay, the next one. So how does SAP licensing work on GCE?
All right, so the model is mainly based on bring your own license, right?
Okay.
So you have to work with your SAP representative, get the license that you need to run on Google Cloud, and then those licenses are certified to also be hosted on Google Cloud.
Okay, great. And what about customers that already have on-premise licenses for their SAP HANA appliances?
Yeah, it's a similar story, right? So bring your own license, right? The licenses that you've acquired for your on-premise environments will be valid as well for the cloud, right? So you can just bring your own license to Google Cloud.
Okay. And one more. So Gonzalo, how can a customer try out and test SAP on GCE?
Right, so there are two main ways to do this, right? And I am assuming that the question is more around developers or IT guys who want to start playing with the platform, right? Without actually getting access to ACP license or anything like that, right? The first one will be to go to the ACP CAL, right? For those that know it, SAP CAL is a library of SAP appliances, virtualized appliances that SAP provides, right? So you can go there, select Google Cloud, and then off you go. The VM will get created on Google Cloud without you having to pay for a license. The second option is going to the Google Cloud marketplace, right? So again, this is in the Google Cloud platform. You will go there, we'll see a list of VMs, you select SAP HANA Dev Express, and off you go, that VM gets created. Of course, it has some limitations in terms of size, so it's very small size VMs, but it allows you to start getting a sense of how the platform works.
Okay.
Good. So I think we still have one more question, right? Which is
so the final one is around, where has Google helped a customer move that SAP estate to Google Cloud in the past? What references do we have?
Yeah, so I think today we've had two very great examples of companies that are in that journey. On the Google Cloud website, we also have more references, right? So please feel free to go there and have a look to those customers that are already benefiting from this partnership. And of course, bear in mind that this partnership was initiated in 2017, so we are still working hard with multiple customers. So hopefully we will have soon many more.
Great, thank you for that.
Good, no worries. So I think we don't have any more questions. So with that, OnAir, thanks a lot. To all of you who have been with us today, thanks a lot for your time. We hope that this time was valuable to you, that you've learned more about how you can get value from SAP and Google Cloud partnership. Again, really want to remind you that we would love to hear your feedback. So please, you will receive a survey, fill out that survey. This will really help us to bring the right content to you. And if you want to get contacted by one of our Google specialists, just click the link in the platform. Again, thanks a lot for your time.